What up, Razzballers? Welcome back to another episode of the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast. It is Monday. It is Mock Draft Monday. Stiles, Sky with you for a single quarterback, half PPR, redraft, mock draft right now on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Sky Guasco. You can find me on X at Sky Guasco, SkyGuasco, with my man Stiles. That's at Stiles08 in the place. We got a mock draft for you. It is Mock Draft Monday. Before we get started, I want to make sure everybody's following everything Razzball on X. That's RAZZBALLNFL. Of course, you can subscribe right here to the YouTube channel. Leave a rate and review. Smash that bell so you make sure that you catch all of our content each night throughout the off season. And of course, the Sunday live start sit show, best in the biz, 2 hours before kickoff. We're with you every single Sunday. Join us there on the Quad Box Plus. Also, you can find us on the go if you're a podcaster that is anywhere your audio is found, the Razzball Fantasy Football Podcast, and all of our articles and all of our great writers and exclusive content and tools available only at Razzball at football.razzball.com. Matty Stiles, got a few things going on here, man. So first things first, I want to make sure that we give just a quick shout out, not too long on this, but since you and I spoke, Razzball draft wrapped up. Just 30 seconds on how you felt that went. Maybe a crazy, a draft pick here. Slow? Was it fast? Were there a lot of leagues going crazy? I know you're you're the head of the horse here for us at Razzball for the Razzball. So just a couple seconds on that, and then we'll get into some unfortunate breaking news here happening right before the podcast.
Yes, my division went real smooth. I don't have access to the back end through NFC, right? Those guys keep it pretty tight and locked down. We had some technical issues that I was able to work through with folks, mostly kind of a bad link that came through. We helped most of those folks. I don't know if all leagues are done. I assume if they're not, they've got to be very, very close. Again, ours moved well, pretty quick. We figured out who each person was on X or Twitter, and all but one of the people in my division we located, and we created a group chat, and we threw the on deck, on the clock stuff, and I think it went well. I look at my team and I'm like, well, I had fun with the draft. Team looks all right. I think we'll survive. Is it a ninth place team like last year's? I don't know. I was all in on Darren Waller last year, so somehow I finished ninth. But my final tight end of the three I drafted last year, his name was Evan Ingram. So the Waller mistake did not sting as much. But yeah, I had a good time. I went a little bit of a different strategy, and it felt good. It worked out for me. But I will tell you that my division was pretty tough, right? We had some. Well, Stanson was on the 101, and his draft was really, really good. I liked his, at least through the first 9 or 10, he was absolutely nailing it. I know you drafted out of the 101 too.
Yeah.
And I went back and looked at your draft chart, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I don't think you could be upset with it. At the end, things kind of get off the rails a little bit. You start taking flyers on guys you like. But yeah, it was a good time. My goal is to write articles every week for Razzball. And so we can keep people up to date on who's leading and who's making moves up and down the chart.
I love it. Well, great job, Matt, and the rest of our squad for keeping that rolling. And you brought up something, just kind of a trick of the trade there that I want to kind of highlight quickly before we move on. If you're in a slow draft, meaning let's call it 2 hours plus, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, some of these drafts as we get going here, usually that's in Dynasty or big tournaments, but sometimes it's just people live all over the country, all over the world. Right. Ben, with us here at Razzball, he lives in Australia. So we have a huge, obviously a time difference there. You had mentioned the on the clock and mentioning people kind of just like, I make my pick. I know you're coming up next. I just tag you really quick. Hey, Matt, OTC on the clock. It pings you really quick. You see that wherever you're at in life and you go, okay, cool. I can make my pick really quickly. Or, hey guys, I'm at work or with the missus, whatever. It's going to be 45 minutes, but I'll get to it. Kind of keeps like the camaraderie and the vibe going. So you don't have a lot of like, where's Matt Stiles? It's been 4 hours. What the hell's he doing? Because life happens. That's why we have those. But I do like that tool because it kind of keeps the flow going. So great call
Yeah,
there.
I caveated that when we started it, I caveated by saying, hey, I'm not sending these because anybody's too slow or too fast or because they, I didn't like how long they took the last time. It's all a matter of courtesy, and it's all a matter of, I think I'm doing my due diligence if I let you know. So if you set it up for success, it'll be a successful tool. And we did really well.
Matt, some people here appreciate your fantasy analysis. I mainly have you on the team because you're a good clubhouse guy, right? And that's what's important here. And speaking of good clubhouse guys, I want to give a shout out to another one of us, Derek Favret, chiming in tonight. Great seeing half of the quad box in the studio. Folks, again, it is not too early to rep the Sunday Live Start Sit Show, kicking off opening day on Sunday, 2 hours before kickoff, wherever your local time is. We will have 4, 5, 9 of us coming on to answer your start sit questions for 2 hours straight. It's a lot of fun. You got to come for the fantasy analysis and stay for the laughs. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it here. We got a mock draft. First, we have some bummer news. We don't have a lot on it because nothing has really dropped. But Matt, just about an hour ago or so, Jahmyr Gibbs, my singing horse, my knight in shining lion armor, has a hammy injury for now. Hopefully it's not too serious, but anything with a top 5 pick or a first rounder, we get a little more nervous. Quick thoughts on Jahmyr Gibbs if he were to miss time.
I think it turns into David Montgomery season really, really quick. We saw them split the carries, split the catches, split the touchdowns. Both looked really good, but boy, if there's an extended absence, you're going to see David Montgomery rocket up draft boards.
Yes, I agree. And honestly, if you're drafting this week or this weekend, folks, it might be worth reaching for David Montgomery just in case, because even if it is soft tissue, that's better than anything more extreme. I don't want to hex the guy, but even if it's soft tissue, we know that stuff can linger, and especially in a loosened back like that. So that's as much as I'm going to talk about the injury because I don't want to make it any worse. But Jahmyr Gibbs getting banged up a little bit at practice. All right, Matt, let's jump into it. We got a mock draft tonight. We've already brought up our Fantasy Pros. Again, those are our good friends here. We're going to not a sponsor, but we like to use their tool, and they have a great tool that everybody can use. It is their Draft Wizard. We like to use it because it's nice and quick for us on the podcast. It's also nice and quick so you can knock out a couple mock drafts, while you're waiting to pick up your kid from summer camp, or you're waiting like on your lunch break at work, whatever it may be. You can knock out a mock draft or two within about 20 minutes. Now, we've already set up all the settings. If you've been with us for the last few weeks, you know how this goes, but let me recap it quickly. We have already designated that we are running a single quarterback, half PPR league. We're picking out of the 9 slot. We haven't done that yet. And we've already mocked the first 8 picks. Now, the system does that for us very quickly, as you will see here on YouTube. And, of course, the podcasters, I'll recap all the picks for you quickly. Now, Matt already knows this. He's been kind of premeditating here, but I'll read off the names, and we'll get into our first pick once again on Mock Draft Monday here on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. Christian McCaffrey, no surprise at number 1. Tyreek Hill jumps in the number 2 slot. CeeDee Lamb, not playing football in Dallas right now. We'll see what happens. Bijan Robinson, second running back off the board at number 3. CD goes at 4. Jamar Chase at 5. Breece Hall at 6. Your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7. Justin Jefferson at 8. Matt, we are on the clock at the 109. I know you love A.J. Brown. We got a plethora of guys, all tight ends available as well. Who are you feeling off the board with our number 1 pick?
For me, it's not even a question. I'm going A.J. Brown, even half-point PPR. Of the top 6 wide receivers, I think he's the one that can make his way into the top 5. So I like A.J. Brown over any of those other players. So as long as you're good with it, we're going to lock that in, and then we'll see what the turn brings us.
I am good with it. I think the only other option there would be Garrett Wilson, but I do think A.J. Brown has a notch over him. I agree. As you can see, it goes pretty quickly here, so let me read off the next couple. Your boy Puka Nacua. Remember, folks, Matt Stiles was the only person that even knew who Puka Nacua was this time of year last year, so I just want to keep mentioning that.
Yep. Sweet.
Marvin Harrison going in the 12 slot. Matt, can you do me a favor and hit that little arrow up at the top, but it says Q in between Q and suggestions on the side there? Thank you. That we can see the whole board there. All right, Jahmyr Gibbs goes at the 12, and then Jonathan Taylor. Woo! If Jahmyr Gibbs is healthy, that is a nice stack on the turn. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jonathan Taylor. Saquon Barkley coming back around, and then Garrett Wilson. Let's go back to suggestions, Matt, and see what we got
Yeah, and boy, wouldn't that have been a coup if you could have, if Garrett Wilson slipped one more pick, you would have got both of the top guys that you wanted there.
Yeah, I would have liked that. Top running backs here, really quick. We'll just run through a couple of these, and we'll look at the wide receivers as well. King Henry, Kyron Williams, and Travis Etienne. Let's take a look at the wide receivers as well. Chris Olave, your boy Devontae Adams, Drake London, and Mike Evans, and all tight ends are still available also. Does anyone jump off the board as an auto pick here for you?
No, and I don't love this spot coming back around. I will tell you that the ADP or ECR or the mock draft info that I've seen, and I was on Reddit a lot on Saturday, as you guys know. I went back and forth with some wide receiver rankings and then asked some kind of open-ended questions. This is the name right here that people seem to be higher on than I am. Right? We know Bob loves this guy.
Yep.
I admitted this. I missed this even as a waiver wire article last year. I didn't have this guy as a must-have pickup, et cetera, et cetera. So I own it. I'm transparent about it. My bad. But then I go back to this list. I don't see a guy that I love instead of him. I kind of like Travis Etienne, but I like him further down the second. And I don't see a wide receiver right here that jumps out to me. And again, I think this is kind of a dead area. This, what is it, 2.5? Is that where we are? Yeah, 2.5 through about 2.10 to me is kind of a rough place to be. So the experts would tell you, well, take the best player on the board. So as much as I don't love it, I think we go with Kyron Williams, but I'm willing to listen to the voice of reason from the West Coast. So you tell me what you think.
Man, it's interesting. In full PPR, I would agree. Kyron Williams, I think the thing is, Kyron Williams, when he was healthy last year, was the number 2 running back in fantasy football, period. The Rams are a great offense. Stafford's healthy. Kupp's healthy. Puka is getting healthy, hopefully by the start of the season. The Rams, I think, could surprise if everyone stays healthy, and Kyron Williams will as well. I have a tough time in half PPR or non, and we don't do mock drafts or non-PPR because I think very few people do them anymore, but Derrick Henry. I mean, I get it. He's old, wear on the tires, whatever. This dude in the Ravens offense, Matt, he could score 20 touchdowns by the bye week. I mean, and he's going to catch a few passes, and we know that he can take a swing pass 75 yards, right? So in a half PPR league, in my opinion, to make sure we have a bell cow that's going to score, get all the touches on the team, and get a little bit of run in the passing game, in a half PPR league, I actually lean Derrick Henry.
All right. And I forgot, you mentioned the half PPR. That I normally play full PPR, right? We always joke with Bob that is there another league besides full PPR? Well, apparently for tonight's discussion, there is. So I'm with you. I mix myself on this pick, and I am good with throwing Derrick Henry. So let's move back here. Pardon me, wrong one. We're going to click Derrick Henry. We're going to see all of the other players go before it wraps down to us. And look at, the number of running backs went. So we will notice that started a run of 3 more.
Yeah.
And then 2 more by the time it came back to us. So a lot of wide receivers. This is the zone right here that I kind of dig. This is where I would like to be. This turn, I think, is better than kind of the picks in here. But again, half point PPR, I like our pick of Derrick Henry, and I think A.J. Brown is a good, solid pick.
I agree. Jamie chiming in here. Brian as well. Good evening, gentlemen. Jamie chiming in here that Henry's a smash top 5 pick for him in half PPR. So again, if we just look at running back specifically, right? McCaffrey, Bijan, Brees, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor, Saquon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's the RB7 off the board for us. But then it goes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If we didn't pick Derrick Henry, Matt, at best, we're picking the RB13 right now as our stud, and I don't necessarily love that. So in a half PPR league, I think it weighs a little bit more, so I can dig that. All right, let's get back to the draft board really quick, just so I can blast through these names here. After Derrick Henry, Etienne, Kyron does go. So Etienne actually went behind ahead of Kyron Williams. Isaiah Pacheco goes as well. So 4 running backs as well. That's 6 running backs in the first 7 picks of the second round. Devontae Adams, Josh Allen goes off the board. Collins, Ayuk, Olave, London, Jalen Hurts. Then we got Debo, Mike Evans, Achane, Kelsey, and Laporta, and then Josh Jacobs. We're back up at the 3-9
So this would have been our list for running back. It would have been Josh Jacobs or one of these four guys. So I'm glad we took the approach that we did.
I agree. And again, half PPR, Rachaad White catches a couple passes. Mixon might as well. Josh Jacobs catches passes, but famously, folks, in 5 years, he has not caught a receiving touchdown somehow. I think that changes in Green Bay this year, but nonetheless, look at these wide receivers left. Holy smokes. I'm pretty stoked on pretty much all those guys. So yeah. I'm okay with it. And none of those running backs necessarily jump off the board for me. So I'd rather, I like Mixon. I think he's gonna be fine in Houston. And I like James Cook a lot as well. I know we talked about Kenneth Walker a lot on our last episode, and Rachaad White. I know he's good. He was RB7 last year, but I just can't necessarily get behind it for some reason. But those wide receivers look really good to me. How about you?
Well, and if you look, this guy's got, we have a team with two receivers, one with one. We're looking at the possibility of two of these five, with Michael Pittman being right below it. I don't think it'll happen. So what it comes down to is, of these top three, which ones do we think are going to be more valuable in half point PPR? For me, in half point, it's probably DK Metcalf, but I like the other two at the top more. Yeah. And I think I would probably err on the side of health with Jalen Waddle, even though Cooper Kupp says he's all the way back. The fun pick for me is Kupp. But look at the percentages, right? The experts, if you will, say 41% for Waddle. Waddle's always fun when he scores, right? Probably the most iconic dance next to the gritty that's in the NFL right now.
Nice.
So I'm good with either. You picked Derrick Henry. I'll pick the next running back. You telling me what receiver you want to go with.
All right. Before we do that, Matt, I'm just curious. Derrick personally much better than the rest of our team does here, and he can't defend himself, so I'm just going to give you the floor. Do you think you or him have a better gritty currently?
Oh, well, remember, I've got the soft tissue issue on my left calf. So right now, I would say Derrick might have the edge, but he's not the best dancer. He's a little stiff on the dance floor. I've got, you know this. You've seen it. My hips don't lie, buddy.
No,
so
absolutely
it's
not.
It's probably a 51-49 right now. I'm leaning Derrick because I'm currently on the IR. But
okay.
That's the only reason.
Well, when you get healthy, we'll figure it out for you. Okay, let's see. We got Metcalf and Pittman coming in. We got Metcalf and Waddle coming in from Jamie and Derek as well. Man, I'm a Kupp guy. I know he's got the soft tissue issues also, but Jalen Waddle's got a bit of an injury going on right now also, and there's so many weapons in that. When Kupp's healthy, he's going to be the dude in Los Angeles. So for me, half PPR, full PPR, doesn't matter. I mean, he might catch 50 more balls than Jalen Waddle or anybody else on this list, not to mention, the hyper targeting. So it's Cooper Kupp for me. The running backs don't necessarily stand out. I don't hate Jalen Waddle necessarily, but he's a number 2, and there's no way Puka Nacua is the number 1 if Cooper Kupp is actually healthy. So for me, it's Cooper Kupp, and I'm taking this value all summer long.
And let's go to the turn. Okay, we lost Waddle, but guess what? Boom. Are we smashing this? I don't even want to talk about it.
I think it is a smash. Let's smash it, and then I'll go through a bunch of picks. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're smashing that before somebody can take him away from us. Look at the wide receivers go off the board. Boom. Oh, look at that. Well, you're going to have to do math, buddy. When you go through that running, look at this.
Yeah, I'm on it. All right, get rid of that ad there for me. Thank you. Okay, So we are at Cooper Kupp, and then it was, let's see here. So James Cook, Jalen Waddle, Rachaad White, Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, Mark Andrews on the turn there. Then we got Metcalf back to us. Pittman, Devonta Smith, DJ Moore, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Dalton Kincaid sneaking in the top 5. Like to see that. Alvin Kamara, my man. I'm taking him in the 5th round or 4th round every time. Patty Mahomes, Kenneth Walker. All right, here we go. Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson, David Montgomery, who might bump now with Jahmyr Gibbs news, James Conner, Aaron Jones, Raheem Mostert, and DeAndre Swift before Trey McBride. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight running backs on the turn. You can count 7. You count, Kamara there as well. So 8 out of the 9 picks there on the turn. So we're wide receiver heavy in a half PPR league. I love it. Our running back, I'm totally great with Derrick Henry. Now I think we need to start looking at running back and tight end potentially, in the top 5 tight ends are off the board. Pittman more than Metcalf for Brian, And looks like Metcalf is the pick for Derek. So looks like we're chiming in here. Zamir White, Najee Harris, Tony Pollard, and Jalen Warren are the 4 top running backs. We got Brian Robinson there as well. Let's take a look at the wide receivers just in case we got anybody. Amari Cooper, like that. Malik Neighbors, that's a great wide receiver 4 with tremendous upside if he has a quarterback. T. Higgins and George Pickens. And how about the tight ends?
And you know me, right? I right now I'm looking at the draft board. Or suggestions. I can't see the comments. I'm almost guaranteeing you by the time we make this pick, Derek will be begging for Malik Neighbors. So let's keep that in mind. Or you want to see tight ends? Here we go.
Yeah, George Kittle, Kyle Pitts, Evan Ingram, and Jake Ferguson. So I'm okay with any of the top 3 there, and actually any of the top 4. And I do like Evan Ingram and Jake Ferguson there. So I'm okay to wait another round or 2 probably on tight end. Quarterback, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow. I like a lot of these quarterbacks still, man. So, yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks I think we'd be just fine with. I'm really getting a lot higher on Kyler Murray now that he's back healthy too. Let's not forget, folks, he was number 2 behind Josh Allen just 2 years ago when he was healthy. Zamir White is a good move for me. Najee Harris and half PPR is nice because you don't have to worry so much about the receptions, but we know that that's Jalen Warren's role. The wide receivers, I think we can stay without here. So I think we're going to be okay, but I think Neighbors is sneaky at what, our 6th pick, our 5th pick. But then we're just, going hero RB, if you will, which I haven't quite done yet. So we can do it just because it's a mock and it's a strategy.
Well, this team shouldn't probably take a running back, right? They've got 3 coming into the turn, and the team at 11 has 2 of each. I bet you we could take Neighbors and come back with, if you're happy with, well, I think it would be one of the top 3 here that we would get back. I'd prefer Najee and a half-point PPR. So we can either take Najee and lock up that second running back, or we can lock up our second flex with Neighbors. We'd have 2 wide receivers and 2 flex wide receivers.
I think I'm okay with Jalen Warren also. So like, regardless, I'm okay with the Steelers. So I'm actually kind of cool with, Jamie's on it. Jamie's reading our mind here. I'm going to pull this up. Neighbors, then Najee. Let's try it.
All right. Boom.
And there he is. Let's smash it.
Smashed.
Take a risk, folks. It works out. Now we got a bunch of picks. Matt, go back to that draft board for me when you can, and let me knock out a bunch of these, and we might be looking at tight end at this point. All right, Najee Harris. Then we got Amari Cooper. Let's see. I didn't go through Malik Neighbors. I'm sorry. Malik Neighbors. Then we had Zamir White, Kyle Pitts, CJ Stroud, and Tank Dell. We got back-to-back Texans there. Anthony Richardson. I like that a lot. CJ Stroud and Anthony Richardson, man, that's my quarterback hot zone right now. George Pickens. Then we got Najee. So we got Derrick Henry and Najee Harris and 4 great wide receivers. I'm feeling that. And then we have Amari Cooper, T. Higgins, Zach Moss, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson. I like Jonathan Brooks there. I think he's going to be sneaky once he comes off the pup. Christian Kirk, Jalen Warren does go, Calvin Ridley, Joe Burrow, Javonte Williams, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, Tyjae Spears, and Chris Godwin. We're at the 7-9. Let's take a look at the tight ends really quick and see who we have left. And if we have to jump on
got
anybody.
a thought for you. We're going to look at tight end. Tight end here, tight end here. The likelihood of either one of these guys going again, tight end, slim to none. So if there are 2 tight ends on the board, I think we can pass, take the one that's left. And by the way, this guy needs a quarterback, so it might be the time to take the quarterback that we prefer.
I love your thinking, man.
Tight end, we have 3 that you like.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't hate it. I don't hate Njoku either.
Yeah, I'd be happy with any one of the 4. But you mentioned this young fella right here. By the way, I don't hate any one of the 4 here either.
Yeah. Yeah, likewise. Take a look at running back and wide receiver just because.
Not a fan. Not sold yet. We loved this guy until last year when Derek put the jinx on him.
Full hex. I've never seen anyone do that ever.
Never seen anything like it in all of fantasy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Derek.
Gus Bus, but he's in a 3-headed committee. And then Zeke, I think we're going to pass there.
Although, if this is 2016, Matt, we're smashing that Zeke pick.
Yes, absolutely. Look at that. He's so happy to be here.
All right, let's go. Rashee Rice still doesn't have a job. Jalen Reed, it's your boy. We got Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, who's not playing. Okay, a lot of those guys are beat up. Christian Watson. Okay, so I'm okay to let's go quarterback tight end here, regardless. And now I think the strategy is just going to be, what do we want to do first? And I do like Kyler Murray a lot. Now we're not going to go as far as we should on a full draft for sake of time. In a deeper draft, I'm definitely taking a second quarterback, maybe even three, even though it's a single quarterback, folks. I would take Kyler Murray. Let's just say Justin Herbert, who's falling and falling and falling. I take him in the 10th or 11th. And then like Bo Nix at the very end of my draft, just because, right? Jaden Daniels is down there as well. There's a lot of guys there. So I like Kyler Murray best out of that group. Love me some Jordan Love also. But again, the rushing upside in fantasy, folks, is a cheat code until it's not. I like Kyler Murray a lot. The tight ends, we had George Kittle and Jake Ferguson. So it really comes down to, and Evan Ingram there too. So I think we're both okay with any of the three of these guys, right?
Yep. And the only thing, if you want to have fun, would be to try to stack Ferguson with Dak. But I'm with you. I prefer Kyler Murray.
Let's do it. Let's do Kyler. Value pick. You like that, folks? Nice. All right, and we go back here to tight end, and there he goes. George Kittle goes. Evan Ingram's there. We got to get Evan Ingram now because we're not going to on the back. I like it. Let's go back to the
tight end run. Look at it go.
Yep, exactly. You want to be ahead of those curves when we can be. Okay, we only got a couple picks left, folks, because we are doing a bridged draft here, but we went Kyler Murray, Hollywood Brown, Zeke, and then George Kittle, Nick Chubb. Just keep pouring it out for Nick Chubb, folks, please. Love me some Nick Chubb. Jamison Williams, who's looking nice in camp. Dak Prescott, Evan Ingram back to us. So we went Kyler and Evan Ingram back to back there. Jordan Love, Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy. We got 4 out of 5 picks were quarterbacks. I'm glad we went Kyler Murray there when we did, Matt. We set the tone. And then right after that was the tight end run, which we also set. So that was really great timing on our part. Jake Ferguson, David Njoku, Curtis Samuel of the now Buffalo Bills, Brock Bowers and Dallas Goedert. And then we have Singletary, Eckler, Chase Brown, Blake Corum, Gus Edwards, Trey Benson, my dog, and Zach Charbonnet with Jerome Ford going just, 1, 2, 3, 8 running backs in a row there to kick off the 9th round. We got 2 more picks here, Matt, just for sake of the episode. How are we looking on our team? Let's go for giggles and wiggles to that little arrow, the pesky arrow up in the corner. And then, hit our team and just see what we're looking at here. We got Kyler, Derek Henry, and Najee Harris. Not my favorite running backs per se, but a half PPR. I love them with this team. A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, and DK Metcalf with Malik Neighbors as our wide receiver 4. I love that. And then Evan Ingram is our tight end, and we have 2 bench spots. Again, folks, we're not doing defense or kicker, and we're purposely not doing a deep bench for sake of the episode, and this is a single quarterback. So let's get into our final 2 picks.
So I don't love the running backs here. So you've got what he's going to start the season as a starter until Jonathan Brooks is ready. Backup. Now, did Javonte go? Did we miss that? Did Javonte Williams go?
Javonte Williams did go. I feel like it was like a couple rounds ago, right there, 7-4.
Yeah, there he is. Okay. And then receiver, and we know we've already bragged. I mean, receiver is the value clearly here. So no real news of a suspension here. In fact, it's probably leaning towards no suspension. You get the Swiss Army knife that I love from Green Bay. You get the best ball wizard in Christian Watson, and oh boy,
Smith and Jigba is nice too, and that's kind of a DK, not a DK handcuff, but if anything were to happen to like Tyler Lockett or something like that. This is really interesting. First of all, there is more and more news, folks, that Rashee Rice probably will not see a suspension anytime soon. And if he does, it'll be at the end of the season or next year. So right now, getting Rashee Rice at the 9th round is ridiculous. If it comes out tomorrow that he's not getting suspended at all, he's probably a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, like at latest. And so for me, that's a smash. Before you do that, though, I think the strategy is, Matt, that we're looking at like the running backs are like, meh. We're looking for difference makers right now. We have a quarterback. We have a tight end. At this point of the draft, we don't need extras. Jamie's chiming in here. First of all, he said, what great value on Ingram and Murray, both top 6 for him. And then you got Chandler, who I don't hate necessarily with standalone value as a pass catcher. I don't disagree necessarily. And I do think we need to get a couple more running backs here. But because of the way this draft is falling and because the way the summer has unfolded, for me, it's no question about it. Rashee Rice has got to be our pick. Then we can look at maybe an auxiliary running back. Thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I think Rice is the value. And if you come back and pivot back here to who's going to be available, this guy might be sitting there when we come back. He said he's fully healthy and ready to go. Run first team, and then it's getting a little bit thinner as we go down the. Yeah, so I would think he's kind of a target. This guy's supposed to get a big part of the offense in Atlanta. I'd be happy with him, but I think this might be the sneaky guy right here. And I'm with Ty Chandler as well. So I'm with you. Let's smash Rashee Rice.
Yep.
See who goes.
Yeah, and Jamie's chiming in here too. He's seen Rice go in the third round of drafts, before the legal issues. So again, getting him here in the 9th is maybe cheating for now, but we'll see. 6 running backs, and our boy does go, unfortunately. Ty Chandler, Antonio Gibson, Chuba Hubbard, J.K. Dobbins, Marshawn Lloyd, who we both love in Green Bay, but got a little case of the yips right now. He's got some fumble rooskies going on. And then we got Rico Dowdle as well. So 6 running backs. Matt, let's just look at this draft board for 1 second. We have every single pick of the 9th round, except for our pick of Rashee Rice. Every single other pick was a running back. Then we have 3 more running backs. Talk about the end of the running back dead zone. Let's take a look here. This will be our last pick for sake of the episode. And don't forget to draft Roschon Johnson. Jamie has to have the obligatory Roschon Johnson shout out. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can save those for Sunday.
You had mentioned, I don't dislike Jaleel McLaughlin, but I'm going to give a shout out because I'm a Duck homer and I'm contractually obligated to. And he played well with a touchdown. Go Ducks. Bucky Irving making some splashes in Tampa Bay. I'd like to pick him up later in drafts. There's a lot of other names there in Denver. Audric Estienne is playing very well also. So Jalen Wright is another speedster. For me, if we're going handcuffs anyway, with massive upside, I think you mentioned him earlier. It's got to be Tyler Algier.
Yep, that's the way I'm going. And let's see how many more running backs go. So let's make this pick, then we'll go back to the draft board.
Cool. And that'll be it for our draft. Because again,
look at the running backs. My goodness.
Yeah. So give it 1 second here. Yeah. So we got all the running backs here: Tyler Algier, McLaughlin. Then we got Jalen Reed, Herbert, Kendre Miller. Then we got Davis, Elijah Mitchell, and Jalen Wright, and then Nuke Hopkins, who again, folks, going to miss, unfortunately, the next month plus there. So we don't get a grade. It doesn't matter. We're not worried about grades. It's about the team makeup. Matt, just from top to bottom, QB to second bench in order, can you just give us what our team looks like?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think it's sexy. Kyler Murray in a 1 quarterback, half PPR. We like the rushing upside. Our running backs 1 and 2, again, half PPR. So you're looking for ground and pound and touchdown upside. Derrick Henry and Najee Harris, I think both bring exactly what we want there. And then the wide receivers is just the room is sick with wide receivers. A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, and then our flexes, DK Metcalf and Malik Neighbors. And by the way, one of those guys takes a week off, has a bye, doesn't feel well. We'll just go ahead and pencil Rashee Rice in for the week. Evan Ingram, who is right outside that top 5 tight end zone, and one of the probably top 5 handcuff or running back 2 on their team, Tyler Algier. I've got no problem with this. And frankly, I will tell you, I wish most of my drafts were this easy. This was I don't think we argued once. I don't think maybe we flipped a coin on Derrick Henry, but I had forgotten that it was half point. So easy.
Well, Jamie's given us a grade. Great draft. I love every pick on your team. I give it a 9.7 A+. Derek following up with, quote, strong roster, end quote. Thank you, gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, looks pretty nice, huh? See your draft grade. So again, we have a couple, not even question marks, just some we'll see what happens based on last year. Kyler Murray coming back. We'll see what happens. Najee Harris, new coach. Derrick Henry, older. Will it continue? Cooper Kupp coming back from injury. Malik Neighbors, rookie. Rashee Rice, suspended or not. Tyler Algier, a handcuff on his own team, let alone getting on the roster of our own team. However, Matt just broke it down. Every one of those guys has massive upside. I love this team, Matt, too, as well. I think if we put apples to apples to apples to apples, this is probably my favorite roster you and I have drafted so far this summer in the mocks.
Yeah, clearly, yes. And
Nice.
most of my drafts, I've gone out of the 8 spot and not the 9, and I much prefer the way the 9 fell.
Kind of move
My
back
home
one.
league,
Yeah.
I have I'm at the 12. I'm at the turn. I
Oh.
don't like that, but looking at what happened in this draft, I could survive with the 12. But this 9 spot was really nice, especially with AJ Brown falling and Derrick Henry just kind of sitting there ready to be plucked was really nice in a half-point PPR.
Yep. And if you guys see Rashee Rice outside of the 3rd round, draft him.
Yeah.
And again, Cooper Kupp is arguably still the best wide receiver in fantasy football while healthy. He's healthy right now. So ride the wave while you can. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for the strong chat as usual. Big up to Brian, Derek, and Jamie for joining us this evening. Of course, my man, Matty Stiles. We're going to be back with you on Thursday. Jefferson and I will be breaking down another one of our favorite picks list. And Matty Stiles and I will be back with you next Monday for another Mock Draft Monday. But until then, make sure you find everything on Razzball. That's RAZZBALLNFL. And of course, you can subscribe right here to the YouTube channel. Hit that bell and subscribe. Find us on the podcast as well, the Razzball Fantasy Football podcast show, anywhere you listen to your audio, and download it. And of course, our exclusive tools available only at Razzball with all of our articles for free at football.razzball.com. And Matt's going to be with you all summer long and heading into the fall with our Raz Bowl updates. So keep an eye on that. We had an extreme turnout this year. It was so fun. And we had a million drafts, ton of work. And again, golf clap to my man, Matty Stiles, for being the man behind the scenes there. Just the, thankless opportunity. So appreciate you, buddy. We'll catch everybody next time on the Razzball Fantasy Football Show. For Matt Stiles, I'm your host, Sky Guasco. We will catch you next time. We are out of here.